Happy to be here. Thanks for having me as a sort of surprise guest. I'm here today to ask the tough questions. I come from an investing background. We do early stage venture. We invest in lots of NFT infrastructure, DeFi infrastructure, scaling primitives, and I'm here today to find out why we should really get into the nitty-gritty details and invest in digital fashion, what they enable, how we monetize them, and more importantly, is this a revolution in how we look at fashion, or is this just the digitization of something that we already have and that will sort of pass?
So. And I'm scared because I'm not sure we can answer some of these questions. These are going to be the tough questions. Omar's kind of the hater for this, so hopefully it should be interesting.
We're here to do sort of due diligence live, so we're about to find out. I'll let everyone do intros and then we'll take it from there.
Hi, my name is Mirel Baysal. I love being in this hot seat, and I am a consultant in the crypto space on financial raises. Previous to this, I was a hedge fund portfolio manager in traditional markets. I'm on the board of JPEG Morgan. It's an illustrious organization.
Any JPEG Morgan people here?
Yeah, very important.
Oh, man. All right, well, we're here.
Y'all are missing
around.
But yeah. And for the past 10 years, I've had a fashion agency. We represent different international brands and work on trying to either building them from the ground up or handling their supply chain and then getting them into the right department stores. So, yeah.
Good afternoon, I'm Adriana Hoppenbrouwer. I'm a co-founder of The Fabricant. And The Fabricant is a digital fashion house where we operate as a platform for any creator and brand that wants to launch themselves into the metaverse.
Thank you. I'm Rebekah, Keida. Some of you guys have already heard my spiel before, but I'm the founder of Visical. We are a creative agency and execution partner helping people navigate what does it mean to get into Web3.
Fire up.
All right. Typically, when we look into a lot of emerging companies that are using distributed ledgers for digital fashion, the first and most common use case that I get, or proposition, is anti-counterfeit measures. Somehow, by using open distributed ledgers that everybody can see, somehow this helps. So I'll be very simple in my thinking because that's sort of the only way I know how to think. There are plenty of ways to do anti-counterfeit measures without using blockchains. In fact, if you look at the statistics for counterfeits in pharmaceuticals and fashion, it's a rampant industry. Billions of dollars are lost every year. In fact, the biggest agencies in the United States already have pretty good frameworks for tackling this, including, if you didn't know, the Secret Service of the United States actually was originally founded to look at counterfeit bills, so they're heavily involved. So is this a true use case, or are we just digitizing something that we already know how to do?
Oh, I'm going to take this one. So is it a true use case? I believe so, because if there's still 10% of all luxury goods are counterfeit that are circling around globally, that's a pretty high number, I would say. And I was talking to someone the other day about one of the biggest kind of multi-brand e-tailers, if you will, of luxury goods. And they said they get something like 23% of all of their products returned to the main factory every year. And one of the biggest challenges they have is that when obviously the products go out, they're authenticated, right? But when they get returned, they don't really have a strong way of reassessing whether they are counterfeit or not. So of that 23% of literally, I think it was 30 or 50 million products annually, they have to figure out if someone just bought, the Celine sunglasses and then bought them on Amazon using those new AR filters and then returned the $20 Amazon ones back in the Celine packaging and then pocketed the difference. So they are still trying to solve these problems. So for us, we think this is a huge use case because whether it's a RFID or a QR code, which are not my favorite use case or my favorite tools rather, I think that using proprietary NFC tags that are cryptographically linked to a digital asset on blockchain, or even using new forms of visualization techniques where an algorithm actually takes a picture on the production line and then will assign a unique kind of assay to that object, so that literally at the return level, someone can swap out their phone, they can pull it up, scan that area, and it'll say, yes, this is one of the 1,000 of these products that we have that came from our factory. So authenticated, right? But when they get returned, they don't really have a strong way of reassessing whether they are counterfeit or not. So of that 23% of literally, I think it was 30 or 50 million products annually, they have to figure out if someone just bought, the Celine sunglasses and then bought them on Amazon using those new AR filters, and then returned the $20 Amazon ones back in the Celine packaging and then pocketed the difference. So they are still trying to solve these problems. So for us, we think this is a huge use case, because whether it's a RFID or a QR code, which are not my favorite use case or my favorite tools rather, I think that using proprietary NFC tags that are cryptographically linked to a digital asset on blockchain, or even using new forms of visualization techniques where an algorithm actually takes a picture on the production line and then will assign a unique kind of assay to that object, so that literally at the return level, someone can swap out their phone, they can pull it up, scan that area, and it'll say, yes, this is one of the 1,000 of these products that we have that came from our factory. So yes.
But why does this need to be on a blockchain necessarily? So I can have a consortium of companies, let's say Chanel, Louis Vuitton, we can say we have our own databases, these are our authenticated products, and we can work with third-party vendors that are going to try and enforce this for us. Mirel has an answer.
Okay, well, I want to take this and say, first off, Prada and Chanel have kind of experimented and started working with this, so kudos to them. But I'm going to take this and talk about more the secondary sale market. I think one of the best opportunities here is not just authentication, but also making sure that the brands get to have a part and a piece of that secondary market, right? We all know how NFTs work. So when you are the artist or the creator or the brand, in this case, you get a percent of the sale going forward. And a lot of luxury brands end up missing out on that secondary markup. For instance, Hermes is famous for its resale value being incredibly high. A lot of the kind of sneakerheads, maybe some in the room, would know that you might buy a Nike shoe, or you might not, because someone might be a bot and buy it for you, but buy it for $100. But in the resale market, it could go for 500 plus, and Nike misses out on those profits. So this is an opportunity for them to capitalize on that.
Wait, I'm gonna add on to that because I thought it was really interesting. I was at the largest luxury conglomerate in the world's office, and they actually said, we don't think we want people to be able to authenticate their goods, because I don't want you to have the ability to sell your item that you bought from us on a secondary market and have 100% certainty that that's real. We would actually prefer that people buy fake bags and spend $4,000 on that and get burned than actually have them know that it's real. So actually, keep that in mind, the how upset that made me feel, because it was just kind of profiteering and not actually using these use cases because they don't want to, because they make more money when people buy fakes.
Can I throw something completely different?
Absolutely.
I think we're talking about a really valid use case for the physicality. What we're most passionate about is the digital component of it, and actually a whole new industry that's exploding, which is digital only, or phygital, or augmenting your reality through digital items, right? And I'm a strong believer that we are creating a new industry parallel to the physical one. That one is much less complex, because you don't need to set up a supply chain, you don't need to have these conversations, right? So it's much less capital intensive, it's more sustainable, and it's more creative. And what I feel the big disruption that is coming, and I'm really kind of very much looking forward to that, is that the world we're coming in with Web3 is a world of communities. We all grow up in the Web2 world, which is all about consuming. I consume, I pay money, and I get very little in return, right? But the world we're coming in is a world that actually we can be part of the chain. We can be communities that are actually sharing the value of that item together, right? And having a community is what sets you for success as a fashion brand. So right now, fashion brands are paying TikToker influencers to wear the products. Those guys and girls have millions of followers. They have the community, not the brands. At the moment that I offer them a platform to launch a digital fashion collection, they're able to capitalize on their own fanship. And they're going to be the biggest challenges of the fashion brands of today. So what we set ourselves to do is actually allow creators and creative beings that have large communities, whether you are a Web3 project, we did a partnership with World of Women, or you are a brand, a love brand in Paris, because you just need a computer. We enable brands to transit into this new world of storytelling, of immersive experience, of fanship rewarded, which goes much beyond the physicality that we live in right now.
Sorry, Omar, I'm gonna.
Are we
Love
are
talking.
we doing on
I'm
time?
just going to keep talking.
No, how are we
Well,
doing
I
on
just want to
time?
add on to this because I feel like it's such a great segue, is that a lot of luxury brands are so afraid of digital first or digital only. They're like really afraid of digital only. They're like, no, like how I can't possibly have my product signed with something that is just digital or like having no product to it. But what I thought was really interesting is like another concern is ownership, right? Is that brands are really afraid of giving ownership to individuals of digital assets. But what's funny to me when I was walking here, it's like when you buy a shirt that says Louis Vuitton on it or whatever, insert luxury brand name, you could theoretically put some hate speech with marker above that and then be like, wear that out, right? And then you're public, you see, hundreds of thousands or thousands of people, however popular you are, I suppose. But then that's their brand and kind of a negative light in the public. So I'm just not sure why, everyone is so afraid. So I just wonder if others have thoughts. And we're actually running low on time, so we should probably, sorry, Omar.
That's all I was going to say. We're running out of time.
Thoughts?
Oh, I got thoughts. I mean, if we got minutes. But basically, I mean, like, I agree with you, but I also can see how, like, the luxury brands are luxury brands because of their storytelling and because of their preservation of their whole world, right? Their strategies are so delicate that they might think twice about even, staying in a store that's high volume, high revenue, because Hermes left, the same street, right? They'll make choices that don't seem economic, which we all know Web3 has great economic opportunity, but they'll make these choices at the expense of potentially even taking a risk that could jeopardize that brand equity. So, like, in the sense that, we can agree that it's a huge opportunity for them, I will only push back because it's not something new for them, because they'll do this with respect to pretty much anything. I mean, Chanel still doesn't sell anything online, right? It took them forever.
They say they never will.
Yeah, they won't. I mean, I was in their strategy department, and I know for a fact that it was a fight to get them to put, what it costs or the price online. So a lot of these brands will do anything to essentially create barriers to brand dilution. But there are opportunities to make an NFT or a digital asset that, for instance, could mirror something in real life. Fendi has a baguette, that you can stitch your own designs onto, right? That's branded items, that's branded assets that they kind of allow creativity. You could have an NFT that has kind of, planned elements that you could add to, or you could have specific use cases that they could predetermine, which I think would be interesting for the brand.
Yeah, I see as brand augmentation. I see opportunity much more of brand augmentation than brand dilution. Because again, NFT is just the technology, right? It's the technology to give you ownership to digital assets and give you access to other benefits, which right now you don't have in physicality. So if I buy a Gucci bag, I'm not going to get in with the Gucci bag necessarily in the Gucci show, but I can buy an NFT that gives that as an access tool for me, being a big fan of Gucci, to actually get into the show. So I think we need to be thinking about, and actually, if anything, I hope that that's what 2023 is going to bring, that we don't talk NFT anymore, that we don't talk blockchain anymore, and that just becomes, that's the way we do it. That's a new technology that enables amazing things, that enables immersive experience for deep storytelling, that enables to reward your fanship, that enables you to be more creative as a designer, to give more to your fans. And just like we don't talk about HTML when we talk about the web, right? We shouldn't talk about NFT anymore. But I guess there is a lot of education still required in the space to educate about the power of the technology.
Absolutely.
Right?
So we are at time. We are over time. Omar, do we change your mind? Say yes.
I'm sold.
Okay, he's sold. Woo! All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
And then we've got our next panel.